Hey everyone. Everyone's been wanting me to make a video of the frog ponds. You see when I come up to it, they all hide. It's because they haven't got used to me yet, even though the ones that just hid were probably around last year and got to know me. But after coming to the ponds every single day for like a month, they're going to stop hiding from me. I haven't seen any of my bullfrogs yet. Just the wood frogs, pretty much. Those are the ones who are the big egg layers. And later in the season, the green frogs lay their eggs. The early ones you see are the wood frogs. They laid so many eggs for us, and they're already developing fast. You see that? A couple days ago, it was just round dots. Some of them are even starting to move. They'll hatch in a couple weeks. We are doing pretty good. We're ahead this year. In some ways. So last year, I believe they actually laid eggs earlier, like the end of March, early April. This year, they laid them in the middle of April, but it's a lot warmer than it was last year. Because last year, leaves on the trees didn't grow until late May. We already have buds opening up, and it's late April. And we have temperatures this week, a couple days, there's going to be almost 80. Nighttime, there's no more frost. And it's the 24th of April today. Last year we had a deep freeze May 26th. I think we're going to have an early year for a lot of things. The growing season, I'm going to chance planting my garden in maybe a week or two because the forecast is staying super warm at night now. You can probably hear all the tree frogs in the background. Now, you know, nature has a way of balancing itself out. The frogs are still mating, but overall this year, there seems to be less eggs than normal. The fish all survived in the big pond, but we did notice there was a die-off of some frogs. As soon as these ponds defrosted, there was some dead frogs floating up. But we still have a lot. There's one right there. Some of them will let us get a little close because of the very bright light. They can't see me. And if we zoom in, you'll see how they look kind of purplish. They were very, very purplish. That's dead skin that builds up throughout the winter. The water table's almost down too. You see how it's barely dripping out of the basement pipe? It's not normal for this time of year. Usually the ground level or the groundwater is still very, very high this time of year. It's already dropping. I think this summer is probably going to be very hot. That's my prediction anyways. And they love to lay their eggs together. Now these ones are less developed because it's a deeper pond. The water's not able to heat up as fast. That is a ton of frog eggs. These ones are just dots, as I described. The other ones were. Look at that. We haven't seen green frogs yet. They'll start popping up. They come out of hibernation later in the year. Now these guys, if we happen to get another cold day, we probably will. It'll probably get cold again for a bit. They can bounce in and out of hibernation this time of year. Believe it or not, wood frogs, even the tree frogs, you'll hear them peeping even if it's slightly below freezing. They've adapted themselves to be like that. Wow, there's a lot of fish. We have a breeding fish population in here. We accidentally brought a couple of them over here. I think they're dice fish, if that's what you call them. But they only get about 6 or 8 inches long. And there's a couple dozen in there. They survived the winter. There was enough air, obviously enough food. But these frogs are very communal. They all lay their eggs together. And they're wood frogs. They're more like a toad. So as soon as mating season's over, they all leave. They live in the woods like a toad more than a frog. So they don't really hang around the water after mating season. Oh my gosh, it was a rainy night. The bright light scares them. I don't know if you can see it or not. But as I'm walking around, there are just... Ooh, did you see it? Hundreds of giant night crawlers. You see it right there? As I walk around, they just slithering into the ground. Yeah, as I walk, I just... Wow, do you see them all? Do you see them all just disappearing into the ground? It's great to have these because it's aerating the soil for the lawn. When I mow my lawn for the first time of year, I let it get really tall. I let it drop its own seed before I mow it. Then it grows back really thick. Wow, these frogs better get out hunting. This right here is a fisherman's dream. I could literally just grab hundreds of them The entire yard is just night crawlers. That's what happens when you don't fertilize. I don't put down any kind of chemicals in the yard. Wow. Look at all these earthworms. Wow. Some of them are huge. Some of them are out of the ground so much they can't slither back. But they're trying to hide from me. I could walk around like this all night. All around my woods, all around the grass. I noticed after big rainstorms, or it barely even rained today, they like to come up to the surface in the spring. I don't know if it has to do with them mating or what it is, but there are extremely big night crawlers. I'm even afraid to walk through the yard fast because I don't want to crush too many of them. Wow. I hope it's showing up on camera what I'm seeing. The amount of them just slithering into the ground. It's just incredible how many there are. Wow, this is insane. They're all so huge. Can we make it brighter? Does that show up any better or is that worse? I'm probably going to scare a lot more into the ground with the big light. It's probably too much. But wow. Insane amount of them. No matter where I walk in the yard, no matter what garden I go in, it's just massive worms literally everywhere. I'll go show you some in the woods in just a bit. Oh wow, look at the ones over here in this mossy area that can't really get in the ground as well and are a lot more super duper noticeable. Kind of feel bad walking around out here, but over to the other pond, it's looking beautiful. It's looking natural. There'll be a lot more frogs soon. I can't wait to do watermelon videos with them again. Okay, that egg cluster there had a bunch of them die. I have no idea why. But the rest of them here seem to be doing pretty good. It may have been the sprinkler timer, honestly, because that's already going. It's right below the cold water spout. That could be it. Maybe the freezing cold water coming out of the hose, or maybe just it dribbling over them, shaking them around, maybe killed them off. That's kind of sad. See, this comes on every couple days to give them fresh water. Ooh, one of our bullfrogs came out. I was just mentioning them. I love the bullfrogs. Now, they'll stick around all year round. They don't leave the pond. Unless it's rainy, sometimes we'll have our favorite frogs. We'll never see them again. They travel pretty far when it's raining, and if they find a better pond, they don't come back. That might be the one we saw eating the mouse last year. I just happened to come out here, and there was a mouse sticking out of its mouth. I love how we have this nice algae starting to grow on the surface. Nice cover for the frogs, although we're going to have to unclog that drain a lot more often. I put this drain in so it doesn't overflow into the grass because the tadpoles would swim out of it. They don't seem to go down the drain at all. I checked the discharge of this and never any. Now those eggs there look healthy. There's a frog. If it was daytime, it would run away. The light blinds it. It can't see me here. It just sees a big light. And we'll have future updates, but what do you think? Did that little tiny pine tree survive? What about the little tiny maple tree? Is that going to start growing leaves? It's red, so that's a good sign. It's probably going to grow some. Now, it's probably safe this time of year. I don't think it's going to get super cold again where it would damage the pumps or anything. Especially since the pump is underwater. It's never going to freeze down to that. What do you think? Next week, let's get this fountain running again. Let's get all the fountains running again. Get the air compressors running again that help clean the water. The frogs love these logs. We also have cattails in there that helps purify the water. They're starting to come up. Last year, they actually grew a couple cattails. Oh, look at that. Oh, my gosh. Oh, wow. It's also their mating season. I wasn't even looking for them in the other ponds. Spotted salamanders. Last year, we had dozens of them in one of the ponds. Yeah, they'll lay eggs, too. There'll be baby salamanders all over the place. Did you see the newt? There was a newt in here also. I don't know where it went. Oh, wow. We got nature coming out. Got a water beetle. In the daytime out here, all the water skimmers are back. See, when you don't live in the city and you don't have neighbors putting down pesticides, insecticides everywhere, you got a lot of nature. People in my comments always talk about these being mosquito breeding grounds. In the city, yes, because all your neighbors put things down that prevent the beneficials from coming in. The water skimmers and the tadpoles are carnivorous. They'll eat them. And the water skimmers, even if they're not hungry, they'll hunt just for the fun of it. They'll kill off all the mosquitoes that land on the water. We don't have any problems. If anything, this helps the problem by them eating them all. I don't know where the salamander went, but we'll have to take a lap around to the other ponds again and see if we can spot more of them, because I wasn't even looking in the depths for them. And now that it's not going to freeze again, I guess I can put these back. These things float, these glass block windows, and the frogs love using them as flotation devices. Walking through the grass again. Are there night crawlers in this area? Ooh, a frog. Gotta be careful where I walk. There. Gotta be careful. So, these here can also be frog hatcheries again. We might put some of the tadpoles over here. Although, I really like these containers. It's kind of just like an aquatic garden at this point. I put a bunch of cattail bulbs in here, and it spread to the whole containers just last year. And these, I put a lot of mud in the bottom of them, and these grow a lot of cattails. I don't see any frogs that came back to these, but you see we have a way for them to get in and out. This one doesn't have one because if something needed to get out, it can use the plant matter. Over here doesn't even need the screen anymore. Look at that. I probably won't mow the lawn for another month. Like I said, I like to let it get really tall at first. Yeah, no one's over here, but everything's starting to turn green, so that's nice. Real nice. Let's walk over here to the stream. Sometimes there'll be frogs over here. Typically not, because the stream is coming out of the mountain. It's like a spring. You walk upstream a couple 100 feet, it's non-existent. All this comes out of the hills, so even on the hottest day in the summer, this is ice cold water, and frogs don't like that. Every now and then, if it's really hot, you'll see one over here, but they don't typically choose this because it's freezing cold water. But I made this little dam because I've never seen this dry up, but I've seen it go to such a slow trickle that if you unplug this right here, it takes like an hour for this little pond to fill back up. It gets that slow sometimes. Okay, let's go over to the other ponds again. I want to see if there's any salamanders. One thing that does really like the cold water, we have in the summertime, probably now if I turn over rocks and look for them, there's a lot of mud puppies that are in here. Those salamanders with the really cool, like, whiskers on the sides. I'm sorry if the camera's getting a little blurry. It's really humid out tonight, believe it or not, even this early in the year. Ooh, look at that beetle. Maybe the frog's gonna eat that. Yeah, the humidity's making the camera kind of foggy. I bet there's salamanders down here if we could see. Let's light them up for a moment. 1, 2, 3. Super bright light. I don't bring this fountain in because it doesn't really work anymore. Every now and then, I don't know why, it'll randomly be working. Like, one day out of the month. Yeah, it's kind of murky in there, but I bet you there's probably some salamanders at the bottom of that. We got a nice ecosystem going, though. With all the frogs, now we have lots of snakes. We don't have any venomous snakes up here, so that's okay. I love seeing the snakes. The salamanders. We got a nice ecosystem going out here. I like it. All right, just keep watching the ground. The amount of worms is crazy. Just look carefully as I walk. I'm trying to keep the camera kind of still so you can... I don't know if it's my vibrations or the light, what's causing them to go in the ground. I think it's my vibrations more so than the light. Wow. And see these holes right here? This is the voles. The voles are what makes these, it's not moles. You see there's no tunnels connecting them. It's voles. They make tunnels a lot deeper, not just on the surface. And you see over here, these are all my daffodils coming up. They're about to start blooming. These ones over here already have. They'll be blooming for another good couple of weeks. I've got some other things starting to come up in the yard also. My chive plants. All my chives are starting to come up already. I'm gonna plant the garden soon. So many worms. Literally any corner of my yard or woods, there's gonna be just worms literally everywhere, unless it's areas where the ground's more packed. Hey, we got another frog. Okay, now we're back over here. We're specifically gonna look for spotted salamanders. Light it up. Wow, look at all the frogs. Wow, look at all the frogs that just got scared away by the big light. And there's some massive water beetles, like over an inch in there. So we're looking down in the depths. That's where they'd be. And I think they're just starting to come out, so we're probably not going to see a whole ton. Maybe later in the week we'll try looking for them again. Yeah, I don't see any salamanders in the depths. Usually every year there's a couple dozen of them down there. I think it's too early. It's a very wet year. I mean, not wet year. So this spring thaw was our slowest unclogging season ever. We got a few, but we had to drive maybe 500 miles for each one, so that's not normal. The water table here is lower than it ever is in the spring. The temperatures seem like they're gonna start getting really warm to like summer highs this early in the year. We did have a decent amount of snow, but still well below average. This was a colder winter than most of the recent ones have been, so that was good for nature. But every year seems to be different. We had a year that the temperatures, the average for the summer was 68. We had a year where a lot of trees died. It didn't rain once. Temperatures averaged lower 90s. If you're from the south, you might not think that means much, but most of these trees around me, their roots only go a foot or two into the ground, so that does cause a big problem up here when the average high is only 76. Yeah, we probably do get a couple of 90s every year. That's normal. But we had one year, it was 90 almost every day all summer. We also had another year, it was very cool. So every year seems to be different. The past couple of years were pretty average, but we're gonna see what happens this year. It's starting off hot. You hear all the tree frogs in the distance. They're starting to get louder every night. Those are all spring peepers. I love when the gray tree frogs start to make noise. They're very loud. Now see the buds on these trees? They're about to open into leaves. The maple trees have already opened into tiny leaves. It's like a month early if you compare it to last year. So, that being said, I feel like it's going to be a warmer year. It could get cold again. And also for April, it's really weird that the drainage ditch here is not working. This is our seasonal stream. It usually has water flowing through it this time of year. I always have a problem with tree frogs laying eggs in here. Notice all the tree frog noises are far away. Most of the swamp on my property is completely dried up. That's what this pool was originally here to put the eggs in. That'll have to be cleaned. I don't think we'll have that problem this year because the drainage ditches are dried up. This year I was thinking about building another pond so I could rescue more frog eggs, but this year, I think it's because the winter was colder than normal, there was a die out of frogs, and also all the drainage ditches I usually rescue the eggs from, they're all dried up this year. So I don't know where they're going to lay them, but it's very, very dry this spring. So if you would have told me we were in a drought a couple months ago, I wouldn't have believed you, because we had a decent amount of snow, decent amount of rain, But it was all gradual. There was no spring floods. But yeah, I can definitely see us entering the 2025 summer in a drought unless something changes. Hey, over here by this tree stump, we got the wild lily of the valley starting to come up. That's pretty cool. I'm surprised the hostas haven't come up yet. But usually when the forest starts growing leaves early, it means early spring. At least what I've seen over the years. Like last year, the forest knew it was going to get cold again. Nothing started growing until like June 1st. Everything this year is like 6 weeks ahead of last year. As far as growing, as far as mating. See this part of my trail right here? There's like a dip. This is usually squishy. I wouldn't dare walk through it with socks and Crocs. I wouldn't even go through this with sneakers usually. I usually can't bring the riding mower down here, can't bring wagons to get logs. Completely dried up this very wet, usually marshy area. Looking into my garden, the strawberry plant's already coming up. Now, I always leave all my plants until the spring because now they're all crunchy. I can just smash them out of these cages super easily. I think I'm going to plant this year by seeds just because we have seemingly an extra month of growing season. I think in a month we're going to clean this up. And I'm going to plant all my tomato plants this year by seed to save money. Because our growing season's kind of short, I usually buy, because it's not many plants I put in here. It's like maybe 30, 40 bucks worth of plants. But I'm going to try just this year buying like 10 bucks worth of seeds for everything. Make it simple. Over here, the lettuce plants, some of them are even starting to come up again because they all drop seeds. We left some onions, we left some carrots in the ground. We're going to see how they turned out. We'll make a garden video in the next week or two and see what's still growing under there. Someone told me that carrots taste a bit different if you let them go through the winter. We're going to give it a try. I also left some onions in the ground. If they're rotten, we'll just let them grow again if they're going to grow again. So, pretty cool that we seemingly might have a longer season. I want to give it a week or two just to see the outlook of the forecast because I don't want to get tricked. 2 years ago, I planted my garden May 1st. Had a couple light frosts. I just came out here, covered everything with bed sheets. Perfect. Last year, I waited until June 1st, and good thing I did it because we had a deep freeze. But everything's going pretty nice. Look who's out in the middle of the yard. And look who lost a tree tap in the grass. Look at that up close. Beautiful. It's letting me get some pictures. Nice. Let's put the light up top. I'm snapping some pretty nice pictures. We don't usually get to see them out of the water like that. So beautiful. All right, we're going to leave him alone now because I'm not just blinding him. I'm probably, well, maybe he likes it. This light is hot enough to make paper smoke, and I'm sure you can feel it even from this distance. All right, we got to be very careful where we walk. We're specifically looking for frogs and salamanders. Ooh, a frog. That's why I love these ponds. They attract animals to drink from them. It attracts frogs, snakes, all kinds of wildlife is in the yard just because of these ponds. And because of the lack of chemicals that you'd have in the city. There's a newt. Is that the same one that was in here maybe? That other guy might be coming over here. It's mating season. We'll start to see a lot more of them in the next couple weeks. And look at a big frog. Well, I hope the update of the frog videos and gardens was interesting, everyone. I actually want to show you one more thing. Look at that, my rhubarb is coming up already. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day.